Welcome to Keeping Up with Our Community, a podcast for and about Romeo Community Schools. Each week, we will invite different guests to share insights about some unique aspects of our schools. This podcast is powered by the MIT TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than MIT TV. Their in-studio podcast experience allows you to record perfect audio and capture amazing video. That's all right here at the MIT TV of Romeo, Michigan. Contact them now via email for a free consultation and schedule a visit at mit.tvpodcast@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com. Hello, my name is Marian Brush, Communications and Marketing Supervisor for Romeo Community Schools. Today's episode of the Keeping Up with Our Community Schools podcast is the next in our series on mental health and wellness, and will focus on Autism Acceptance Month. Our guests today are Special Services staff from Hevel Elementary School, Michelle Batos, Speech and Language Pathologist, Ashley Legrette Owens, School Social Worker, and Lindsay Demkowski, Intensive Resource Room Teacher. I will now turn it over to Ms. Selden to lead the discussion.
It is my pleasure to be hosting this episode of Keeping Up with Our Community Schools podcast. After reviewing feedback in our last climate survey, parents asked for more resources on mental health and wellness strategies. Our goal is to continue to create more resources on those topics and other topics to help students, parents, and staff in our community. As always, if you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health concern that impacts your daily life, please call your doctor. If you or someone you know is having thoughts of suicide, please dial 988 for free confidential help 24/7. Or you can call 911 for emergency help. Welcome, everybody. Before I get started, I wanted to say that we're here to share some information about autism and Autism Acceptance Month. This podcast is not meant to be a diagnostic tool for information. Also, according to the Cleveland Clinic, autistic people fall under the umbrella of neurodivergence, which refers to a broad group of people who have brains that develop or work differently. That means that they have different strengths and challenges from people whose brains don't have those differences. Some neurodivergent people have medical diagnoses, such as autism, while others do not. Right now, there's an estimated 1 in 36 children in the U.S. that are autistic. To put it into perspective, that's about one child in every classroom. Autism is a condition caused by brain differences, and it may affect communication, behavior, learning, and emotions. Michelle, Ashley, Lindsay, what impacts do you see when you're working with children?
As a speech-language pathologist, I often see children with autism experience difficulties with their communication, social interactions, and pragmatic skills. Communication challenges are one of the core features of autism. This can vary widely from person to person because each child is so unique. Often, these children experience difficulties in both verbal and nonverbal communication. Kids may struggle with facial expressions, body language, or eye contact. Kids may not speak at all or may repeat words or phrases they hear all the time. Kids may have difficulty using language appropriately, like how to hold a conversation, understanding social rules like voice level and personal space, taking turns, and perspective taking. These social and communication struggles really impact how children with autism understand others and express their wants, needs, or emotions. Finding the right mix of interventions and supports is so important in helping autistic children express themselves effectively and interact meaningfully with others. Besides working with a speech-language pathologist like myself, many children would also benefit from working with a social worker or behavior specialist. Ashley, what impacts do you see when working with children with autism?
Well, as a social worker, I see impacts as you described in the areas of social communication and social skills. I also see impacts in the areas of emotions and behaviors. Autistic people experience, process, and express emotions differently. Their brain does not filter information the same as a typical brain. So sensory input such as emotions, sounds, lights, textures can all come in at once without a clear way to sort or prioritize them. In terms of emotions, this means feelings can be experienced either very intensely or can take longer to fully process and understand. Their brain also has differences in areas that manage emotional regulation, such as the amygdala, which is tied to our fear and threat response, and the prefrontal cortex, which helps with self-regulation and decision-making. Due to this, combined with the difficulties in the area of social communication, an autistic person may struggle to emotionally regulate. This may look like a tantrum, defiance, or disruption from someone on the outside. However, behaviors are rarely due to these factors. Behavior is a way to communicate. So if someone does not have the words to say, I'm overstimulated, scared, frustrated, etc., their behavior takes over in a way to communicate for them. These differences do not mean something is inherently wrong. It just means their brain is wired to process the world uniquely. When we gain an understanding of this, we can better support the emotional and behavioral needs of autistic individuals with patience and empathy. In the school setting, many autistic students receive support from a special education teacher. Lindsay, what impacts have you observed when working with ASD students?
As an intensive resource room teacher, I see that my students benefit from a very structured routine, clear expectations, visual aids such as a visual schedule, visual of expectations, visual of how to function or behave during learning times, and within the school environment. They also benefit from timers and, if possible, heads up if something different than their norm is going to happen during the day. This could be a substitute teacher coming in, assembly, visitors, fire drill or weather drill, and etc. If there is a change with a heads up or without a heads up to their schedule or routine, it is common to see them behave differently, as this change can overstimulate them, which in turn is shown through different behaviors. When completing tasks, they may all have different needs and ways of completing tasks. Some students may benefit from paper pencil activities, while some may benefit from hands-on activities, while others may benefit from doing work on a computer or iPad. And some may need a combination depending on the day. Being flexible and able to think on your feet in order to meet their needs at that moment is key. They often require wait time, processing time, shortened assignments, sensory and movement breaks, and if needed, one-on-one learning supports and opportunities.
Dr. Stephen Shore is an American autistic professor and author and autism advocate. He is also known for his quote, "If you've met one person with autism, then you've met one person with autism." The diversity within the autism spectrum is immense, and it emphasizes that no two people with autism are the same, even though they may share a diagnosis. Ashley, how does someone get a diagnosis of autism?
First, I want to clarify that there is a difference between a clinical diagnosis of autism and a school eligibility of autism on an individualized education plan or an IEP. So in a clinical setting, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or the DSM-5, is used to determine if an individual meets the criteria for autism spectrum disorder. The DSM-5 classifies autism spectrum disorder into 3 levels of severity based on the degree of support that's required. However, it's important to keep in mind that these levels are general guidelines and individual experiences vary widely. Some individuals may fall between levels or exhibit symptoms not typically associated with ASD. Level 1 requires support. It's the mildest form of autism. They may have difficulty with social communication and repetitive behaviors, but they typically can live independently but may need some support. Level 2 requires substantial support and they have moderate symptoms. They have significant challenges with social communication and repetitive behaviors, and they may need assistance with daily tasks and routines. Level 3 requires very substantial support and is the most severe form of autism. They have severe difficulties with social communication and repetitive behaviors and may require significant assistance with daily living and may not be able to live independently. A school eligibility under an IEP looks specifically at how autism impacts their ability to learn and participate in the school environment. So a child may have a clinical diagnosis but not qualify for services on an IEP if it's not impacting their education or vice versa.
The terms neurotypical and neurodivergent are increasingly becoming part of everyday conversations. Neurotypical describes socially accepted and expected behaviors, as well as people who don't have a neurodevelopmental condition. Neurodivergent, on the other hand, describes people with a neurodevelopmental condition like autism or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder or ADHD. Autism is a neurodevelopmental condition characterized by differences in social interaction, communication, and behavior. It's considered a spectrum, meaning individuals may experience a range of traits and challenges. Neurodivergent individuals, including those with autism, process information and interact with the world in ways that differ from those that are typical. The neurodiversity paradigm views these differences as natural variations of the human brain, emphasizing acceptance and inclusion. Embracing neurodiversity involves recognizing the unique strengths and perspectives that neurodivergent individuals bring to society. For example, some individuals with autism may have exceptional attention to detail, or they may excel in specific areas like art or math. Celebrating these talents contributes to a more inclusive and appreciative society. Promoting awareness and acceptance of neurodivergent individuals, including those with autism, is essential. This involves understanding and valuing neurological differences by providing appropriate support and fostering environments where everyone can thrive. Understanding and supporting neurodivergent individuals enriches our communities and promotes a culture of empathy and also respect. Autism Awareness Month has moved to Autism Acceptance Month. ARC states that Autism Acceptance Month builds on decades of advocacy. It began in 1970 as Autism Awareness Month, and in 1988 gained national recognition through a presidential proclamation. In 2021, the shift to acceptance reflected what autistic people have long called for, not just recognition, but real inclusion. Words matter, but actions matter more. True progress comes from creating a society where autistic people are fully valued and supported. Michelle, can you describe some differences between autism and autism acceptance?
Autism awareness and autism acceptance are related, but they have different focuses. Autism awareness focuses on educating people about autism, what it looks like, and how it affects others. Autism acceptance focuses on embracing and respecting autistic people as they are, creating an inclusive, supportive society that highlights their worth. Ultimately, both are crucial. Awareness starts the conversation, but acceptance leads to lasting, impactful change in how society views and interacts with people on the autism spectrum. Both parents and teachers play a vital role in shaping an environment that is inclusive, supportive, and empowering for children with autism. We can use positive language and be mindful with our words. We can share knowledge with family and friends when reading books or articles on autism. We can model acceptance in everyday life by celebrating what makes each person unique. We can create safe spaces. We can encourage peer support and teach empathy. We can model patience, kindness, and understanding. We can be leaders in respecting each other and embracing our differences. Lindsay, can you give some examples of how we can promote autism awareness and acceptance in the school setting?
So at Hevel, we do things such as Kindness Club and Junior Kindness Club. Basketball Jones also comes to our school to highlight that we all matter, and we also implement whole school PBIS. We also have Bulldog Buddies, which is where we have general education peers team up with special education students for various activities such as sitting at lunch together, playing at recess, and other areas that they could use peer support in. At school, we have sensory-friendly spaces and sensory paths to meet student needs. To promote inclusivity throughout our building, students with autism are always invited to join field trips, class parties, and assemblies. When they're in their classroom or at assemblies, you may see some students wearing headphones, they may have fidget toys, lights may be dimmed, or they may have a parapro for extra support. When our students join their general education classrooms, our teachers are very welcoming to the students joining their rooms. They are excited to see them, which does trickle down to their peers getting excited about seeing them as well. They are always welcome and treated with kindness. Because our building is big on We All Matter, our staff and peers are comfortable supporting our ASD buddies and helping any way that they can. We truly accept our students with autism and all of our students for who they truly are.
Thank you, Michelle, Ashley, and Lindsay, for being here today and sharing your knowledge and experiences. We are incredibly grateful to MIT and also to Romeo Community Schools for helping us share this information. We will have additional mental health and wellness podcasts about once per month during the school year. Thank you again, everyone.
Thank you for joining us, and tune in next week to keep up with Romeo Community Schools. This podcast is powered by the MIT TV of Romeo, Michigan. If you're looking to start a podcast for your business or personal use, look no further than MIT TV. Their in-studio podcast experience allows you to record perfect audio and capture amazing video. That's all right here at the MIT TV of Romeo, Michigan. Contact them now via email for a free consultation and schedule a visit at mit.tvpodcast@gmail.com. That's mitt.tvpodcast@gmail.com.